Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of people don't really know about or have questions about or are afraid to do themselves, and that's retrobriting, soul saucing, or sea glowing. The way I'm going to be doing it is I make my own sauce, so I'll bring you guys through a tutorial of how to make it, how to apply it to the souls, and how to use it. For anyone who doesn't know, retrobriting or soul saucing is the process of turning yellowed souls clear again by using hydrogen peroxide solution and UV light. And what it does is it takes yellow aged souls and makes them into pristine condition again, which is really good for restorations and just making the shoes look newer. So it was invented a few years ago and it really changed the game in terms of restorations, because all of a sudden you could take an old shoe and make it look new and icy again, which was crazy. Today I'm going to be doing it on my Navy Snakes from '01. Okay guys, so on to the application of the actual sauce. You're going to need a few things. First, you're going to need Salon Care Professional Maximum Lift 40 Volume Cream, and it doesn't have to be this is just what I use. I think it has about a 12% hydrogen peroxide content, which is good in my opinion for the soles. Some would argue that the more hydrogen peroxide the better when saucing, but the actual original website doesn't say that. I don't really know what to believe. I just use this, so I'll get a close-up on that. So that's what it is, and you're also going to need, as a catalyst to the reaction, you're going to need some OxiClean. And basically what this does is it just kickstarts everything. You're also going to need a toothbrush to apply everything, and I like to use a little container to hold my sauce in, because you don't want to just use all of it at one time. You want to just, kind of pour it in a little bit. So when applying, you're just going to want a decent amount on. It bubbles up a lot, so you don't want to get enough where it's gonna actually damage the upper, because it will. Basically what this is it's almost a bleach, so it won't affect the midsoles, but it will kind of affect this navy print. I learned that the hard way. So you might even want to tape the uppers a little bit, but I'm not doing that right now, just for time. And this solution will bubble up, so don't put too much on, because although a lot may help, you don't want to damage anything. So after a while, after you're finished applying it, you're going to want to take a little pinch, well, not a little pinch, but a big pinch of the OxiClean, and sprinkle it on all aspects of the shoe. A lot of people believe in microwaving the sauce before and dissolving the OxiClean in the actual sauce, but I don't really think that that's very effective, because it just takes a long time. And usually when I'm doing this, I'm pressed for time, and I just want to get them under a lamp or under the sun as quickly as possible. So I just scrub the OxiClean on. It works. It bubbles up. The OxiClean is what allows the sauce to foam up, and it does increase the effectiveness of it in general. So once you have that on there, I have a sheet of saran wrap right here. I'm gonna actually push it down onto the saran wrap and tape it. But actually first I'm gonna tape this little toe cap part, because I actually don't want the stuff getting onto the toe cap. If it's 90-degree plus weather, the soles are actually gonna separate. And that's just a basic figure. I mean, any hot weather, you're gonna have some chance of separation, especially on older shoes where the glue isn't as strong. When you're done, you're gonna get something like this, and you're gonna want to do that for both shoes, and it's taped up. I did experiment with the saran wrap. My original thoughts were that the saran wrap slows down the process because it actually blocks some of the UV rays, and that is correct. But saran wrap's very convenient because it blocks evaporation and allows you to do this for like 8 hours plus, which is just so much better in my opinion than constantly reapplying water and the hydrogen peroxide solution. So although it may take longer, it's definitely more convenient. I'm gonna wrap up the other sole and then we'll take it outside to the sun. In the time it took me to saran wrap the shoes, it actually turned overcast. So I'm gonna have to actually show you guys my indoor setup rather than my outdoor setup. Here's my indoor setup. As you can see, there are 2 bulbs, and inside this reflective box that I made is both of the snakes. So basically what the box is it was like a Tupperware box that I found laying around my house, and then I covered it completely in aluminum foil and then reinforced the aluminum foil by adding tape on the other side. And what this does is it just traps in as much light as possible, which is very, very important for the indoor setup, because for these lights to work properly and work effectively, you need to trap their light in and focus it towards the soles of the shoes in here. And so just by focusing it as much as possible, as you can see, most of the light is kept in. It really maximizes the effectiveness of the box. And a lot of people will like say, you know, the indoor way is great, better than the outdoor way. Where I live in Boston, most of the year the outdoor way is better because the sun is just, in my experience, about 3 times faster than indoor bulbs. And I mean, this depends on what bulbs you have. What I'm working with right now are 2 bulbs. One is just a regular CFL bulb. It was the largest I could find at Home Depot. And so large CFLs work. They have a lot of UV. And then there's this one. And this one right here is a Repti Glo Bulb, I believe. I'll link both of these in the description. And this is a UV bulb actually. So this would be used to like for hydroponics, or basically this light, although it's not very bright in comparison to this, it's doing the bulk of the work because it has more UV radiation. That being said, you don't want to get near this light for extended periods of time because it probably will give you a sunburn. So the sun is always best, but the sun can cause issues like separation. So that brings us to the other aspect of the indoor setup, in addition to the bulbs, which is a big ass fan. So you're always going to want a big ass fan pointed on the indoor setup, because what it does is it keeps it from getting too hot. So you're going to want to put a big fan on the highest setting and keep it aimed at that box. That concludes the indoor setup tutorial. If you do this for a while, you're going to have soles that become clear. And it takes a while, but it's very low maintenance. You can leave these under for like hours and it won't separate if you have it right. So basically that concludes the tutorial. Thanks guys for watching, and sorry if the camera angles were a little bit weird or I was long-winded. This is my first tutorial on YouTube and it can only get better from here. So before I conclude, I'm gonna give you guys a few tips on just everything in general. First of all, be very careful with hydrogen peroxide solution because it can give you chemical burns and it can really hurt you, and it can bleach your clothing actually if you're not careful. So just try and be careful with that. Also, clean up the workspace after you're done. You don't want any little kids or like pets licking that stuff up or whatever. And always store it in a good place. I use the little container to keep the stuff that I'm using that day. They say that it keeps for about 3 days and then you're gonna want to change it, because after a while the hydrogen peroxide just separates into water and oxygen, I think. I'm taking chem next year. But it just separates, it breaks down, and it doesn't work anymore, basically. Another thing is be patient. I'm not very patient. I get frustrated, but when you start to see results, you feel better about it. But just be patient. It's gonna come along. It might take 75 hours for it to happen, but it's gonna happen. Your soles are gonna be icy. So in my outdoor setup, I have like a box with aluminum sides that kind of focuses the sunlight onto it. And I couldn't really demonstrate that today, but it's basically the same process as the indoor setup, except it's outdoors. And don't really do the outdoors unless there's a lot of sun. The outdoors is great if you're in a cold climate, especially New England where I'm from, because most of the year you can have it outdoors for like 4 hours straight, 5 hours straight, except for in the summer months, and be fine, no separation. But like if you're in Texas, for example, where it's 105 degrees, you can't keep the soles out for more than 30 minutes outside. So you might want to look towards the indoor option. One thing too is cleanup. So after you're done with the process for a day, you're gonna want to clean up the soles. You're gonna want to really wash them off thoroughly with water after every single use, and also clean up the midsoles and the uppers. Make sure you didn't get any on there, and if you did, just wipe it off with a wet paper towel, because you don't want any bleaching or staining or messing up the uppers, because that's not fun. So thanks guys for watching. Please give me any tips, like, comment, and subscribe. And also, any questions you have, please ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them in a follow-up video. So thanks very much, and thanks for watching.